Well, good day to you. It happens to be April the 21st. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. My name is Gary Willing, and I want to welcome you to Search for Signs. And just real quick before I get into it, I just want to say, if you have a question that you would like to ask, feel free to post your question in the comments section. I'll try to answer it in the next video. If you have a question you want to email me, you can email me at searchforsigns@mail.com. And of course, you can let me know what you think by just posting a comment. All right, now, I did have a question that came my way from Trevor MCC1. How long before the day of declaration? Well, that's a good question. And unfortunately, it's a question I can't answer specifically. Is it going to be next week? Probably not. Next month? I doubt it. Will it be in 2024? I guess it could, but I don't know for sure. Since I started putting these videos up 5 years ago, I was always kind of hoping it would be that year or the year after that, but I didn't think it would, to be honest, because I've been at this game for a while. I started in 93, and even then, Benjamin Creme was talking about soon. Soon it's going to happen. Soon it's going to happen. And, of course, people express frustrations to Ben over the years, like, why is this taking so long? And then he would say, well, his master, as with all the masters, live beyond time. They don't see time in the same way that we'd see time. So soon for a master is not soon for an average person. That's why I always jokingly say, if you ever see Maitreya and he says, hey, can I borrow $5? I'll pay you back soon. It's probably not going to be as quickly as you think, right? But, there have been things that have happened that I think confirm the fact that Maitreya is here. But even if you don't believe any of those things, just look at the world today. I don't know how old you are. I don't, who was listening to this, but I'm 52. I just turned 52 last month. And life is totally different today than it was 50 years ago, technologically. But even more of the attitudes that we have toward everyone is totally different. That's why it's sometimes very difficult to watch sitcoms or movies from just 30, 40, 50 years ago or more, right? And the way that we interacted with one, people thought it was funny. It's not funny, or that was just kind of the way people were doing things back then. And it's harsh for us now. It's painful for us to see that, Now, to take it to what's going on today, right? Do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. Are there dangers that are facing humanity? Of course. But we've come a very long way in a very, very short amount of time. The world is transforming. It is. And it's not only because of these masters, but it's because the hearts of humanity are starting to open up because of the work and activity of these masters. Maitreya especially. That's his gig, is opening up the hearts of all of mankind. Now, even though we don't know who he is, we may have seen him on TV, we may not have. We may have seen him on YouTube or may not have, because he's not claiming to be Maitreya. And it's not important for us to know who he is right at this moment in time, or we would already know who he is. But it's, I guess, if you look around at the world and see all the division, see all the hatred, see all the problems with the environment that are going on, it's because we're waking up to the problems. These problems have been here for a very long time. We were just asleep to the problems. Now we're starting to see it. And it's because we're starting to wake up to the fact that we can't live like this. And this is a direct result of Maitreya speaking to humanity in the way that he has been speaking to humanity. Now, the other thing too is, I understand, because there are people who are, like I said, have been very frustrated with this information, perhaps have said, oh, Ben was deluded or whatever like this. And I actually understand that take on it more than I understand. In fact, I understand that take on it, and I don't understand somebody who automatically thinks, without diving into this information or investigating it for yourself, or seeing Maitreya on TV, or seeing him in your own life, automatically assuming he's the Antichrist, and are utterly convinced that he's Antichrist. To me, it's like you're not even giving it a chance. You're just like, he's the Antichrist, because they have a religious superstition about things. They are misinterpreting their own scriptures, for one thing, but then they look at life very suspiciously because of their own fear, I think, that has been created from their misinterpretation of their own scriptures. And it's probably not just Maitreya, it's probably everything. They probably distrust and are fearful of quite many things in their life because of them misunderstanding their own scriptures. There's the people who are misinterpreting those scriptures and are relaying it to them that they trust are doing them a tremendous disservice, I think. Because if you look at Maitreya, he is not a religious figure. He's not coming to change your religion. He's not coming to you to ask you to believe anything different than you already believe. Perhaps a better way of looking at it is he's coming to show people how to live a truly Christian life, because he knows nothing but how to live a truly Christian life. That's who he is. You know what I mean? But if you're a Christian and you're of that religious bent, you're waiting for Jesus to come back from the clouds with a host of trumpets, which is just a symbol for what's already been going on. But that's what they're waiting for. That's why they're missing the fact that he's already here. But not everybody is awaiting the Christ. The Muslims aren't awaiting a Christ. They're awaiting the Imam Mahdi. So they will see him as the Imam Mahdi, but yet not as the Kalki avatar. I don't know anything about the coming of the Kalki avatar other than it was just a symbol written in the Bhagavad Gita. But I also understand that teacher that's awaited for all the religions is already here. They're just expecting him by different names. But if you're not a religious person, you don't have to view him as the Christ or the Imam Mahdi or the Kalki avatar or the Messiah or the fifth Buddha. You can just look at him as a teacher, because that's really who he is. Now, the length of time that it will take for any one of us to see him, and then for all of humanity to see and recognize him and know who he is, and then start to trust what he's having to say, is all dependent upon us. And the question that I've asked people in the past is, well, how long does it normally take for the one awaited by all the world's religions, the world teacher, to come back into the everyday world after being away from humanity for 100,000 years, working indirectly, still working with humanity, but working indirectly, not directly like they did over 100,000 years ago? How long does it take for when the process starts to where we see and recognize him? Nobody knows, because it's never happened before. So the expectations that any one of us had, that it would have taken, let's say a week and a half or 2 weeks or a year or 2 years or 10 years or 20 years, is all our own expectations, which is just our own expectations. They mean nothing. We will understand one day why it seemingly took Maitreya for a very long time to eventually come out and get on TV, and then a seemingly longer time to be recognized by humanity, and why he didn't just come out and say who he was. We'll eventually understand the need to live within the law of cause and effect, to live harmlessly within that law, to not infringe upon other people's free will. We don't view life like that now. Just as we look back 50 years ago to kind of how I started this conversation, right? 50 years ago, and you watch movies or TV reports or videos or whatever it is from decades ago, the people act differently. They speak differently to one another. They use words that probably are offensive to people now, right? What's it going to be like 50 years from now? Once Maitreya and these masters are living in the world, we're starting to understand the purpose and the need to live harmlessly within the laws of cause and effect, to not infringe upon people's free will. How are we going to look at what's life today? It will be probably 10 times more painful for them to see life today. And how could they possibly live like that? You know what I mean? Think like that. Put out such ideas that are false, knowing that they're false, or believing something that somebody said and not thinking about it and just following it blindly the way that we do today. You know what I mean? It will be painful to the extreme to be able to have to endure just reviewing that in the future, I think. But more importantly, it will be painful in the extreme to have to understand in the future, to understand the reality today, that we ignore the problems of the world the way that we're doing. That's the reason why Maitreya hasn't come out on the Day of Declaration yet. Now, what is the Day of Declaration? Well, the Day of Declaration is a day when all of humanity demand from the media. See, this is the thing. Humanity is not demanding anything from the media or our own leaders. We're just kind of following them blindly, right? But once humanity wakes up to the problems of the world enough, once Maitreya is speaking to humanity with a tad bit more of a sense of urgency, we will demand from our media him the opportunity to speak to all of us at the same time. That is the day of declaration. That's how it's going to come about. There isn't any mysterious or mystical event that's going to happen that's going to bring about the day of declaration. Humanity is going to demand that from our media representatives, as corrupt as they are, as corporate driven as they are, we will demand from them, Maitreya, an opportunity to speak. And that won't happen until we do. So that's the day that it will happen. But if you look at the world today, we are transforming. We are waking up to the problems of the world. We're starting to become more and more aware of it, and more having a sense of urgency ourselves that we have to do something about this. I remember when I first heard about the environment and how important it was to recycle because of the environment. They talked about topsoil. They talked about all this stuff. They started to begin to talk about climate change and how nobody was taking it seriously. And now it is a major political discussion. We're not doing anything about it yet, but it's a major political discussion. We've taken giant leaps in the right direction, but yet we still haven't tackled the issue yet. I get it, but we're moving in the right direction because we're educating ourselves. Now, lastly, I want to say this. For those people who have heard this information before and perhaps doubt it because they haven't seen anything materialize as of yet, might I just suggest taking a step back and relaxing and not getting so caught up into it just from hearing me talk about it. I'm not trying to grift money. Nobody's lost any money by listening to this video. I haven't asked for any subscriptions or anything. So you're out nothing. Now, the only thing I think that we should do is educate ourselves better about the problems of the world and perhaps how this could be a solution to those problems. But you don't have to believe what I'm saying. That's why I would suggest to everybody to just research this information. Just look at it. And then you'll see if there's any truth to it. But up until that point, you don't have to do anything with it. Perhaps see the problems, think that there might be something that we can do about it as a humanity. But I'm not asking anything from anybody. I'm not asking your allegiance. I'm not asking you to change your beliefs. I'm not asking for money, nothing. So you don't have to get all torn up about the fact that you haven't seen anything from Maitreya yet, right? But it's because you're not recognizing it, I think. And I think if you look at what's going on in the world today with all the marches that are going on, in places in the world that normally people wouldn't think to even protest, Iran, Russia, China, those kind of places. Places that it was extremely dangerous to express your displeasure with the government and their policies. People are doing it. We're waking up to the problems of the world. One by one by one. Maybe it's not going as fast as everybody would like, but it is coming along. That's my point. And it will be fine. Everything's going to be fine. But hopefully that answers your question. And hopefully for some of you guys who perhaps have heard this information, heard me talk about it, maybe heard Benjamin Creme talk about it over the years and don't think that you're seeing anything come about, it might just change your view a little bit. But if you research this information and you investigate it for yourself, you perhaps read a few master's articles and those kind of things, you're not out anything, just a little bit of time. And then when the time comes, when you see Maitreya, you'll be better prepared for it, I guess. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I love you, and I look forward to putting up videos in the very near future. Take care. Thanks for listening to this video. If you want to know more about Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, if you want to see if there's any truth to this information for yourself, I'm hoping that you take some time and you investigate this information at some point. If you look in the description portion of these videos, there are links that take you to websites that talk about this information. They're all free, so it just costs you just a little bit of time. Have a great day. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.